January 18th, welcome back to Edgework. I'm Zack Phillips, joined today by the man Rusty Bill, and filling in today, the Undertaker, Alex Moretto, for So Money on the show today. So we got 11 games ahead of us. We'll get into all of those, break down our best bets, what we've got, couple overlaps here today in terms of games, couple overlaps in terms of bets, some double best bets, which for the Thursday shows has usually gone pretty well. So we'll look to keep that going here today. But before we can get into any of that, before we can get into last night's picks, before we can get into questions from the chat, I want to remind people that today's show, as always, is sponsored by Betstamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is by using multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like Betstamp in order to help you do so. Betstamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props, so you can save time and money by checking Betstamp before you bet. Make sure to download the app today. It is available on iOS, Android, as well as on the web. Sign up there. And if you are looking to support the show, or if you're looking for new sports books and you just want to indirectly help the show at least, betstamp.app/edgework. You can sign up for new sportsbook accounts there. It does help support us. That's betstamp.app/edgework. That is available in the link, or the link is available in the description of the show as well. You can just type that one in, betstamp.app/edgework. It does help support us. Another way you can help support us is by liking the stream here today. We're 32 subscribers away from 2,000. More likes, more subscriptions. We can get to 2,000. We can get to watch-alongs. Moretto and I have some other content in mind here that we've been planning up over the last little while. But it's going to take some commitment from you guys. You got to hit that subscribe button here. So if you want more live stuff, subscribe to the show. Moretto,
tell your friends,
2-0 last night.
Friends.
Yes, tell your friends. Send it around. I'm seeing in the chat here, Mike saying, thanks for the unders last night, Moretto. The Undertaker strikes again, as JH says. 2-0 night last night brings us to 191, 185, and 4 on the season for this show. That's a 7% ROI through 380 bets. Talk to us about last night, what's been going on in your life as the Undertaker.
Yeah, I mean, don't thank me. Thank Sam Montembeau, who... Another great game for him. Man, I think the market hasn't quite caught up to just how good he's been over the last almost year and a half now. That helped us get that one home. Maybe a little bit lucky, especially when you consider the Habs are turning into an offensive juggernaut in front of our eyes with Uri Slafkovsky and Joshua Wall. I mean, the future is here.
Right.
It has arrived. It's great to see as a Habs fan. So, big things on the horizon here. They could probably name their score tonight against the Senators. Good stuff there. And we got the under home in Florida, which was probably a bit more deserving. Always nice to have a nice 2-0 night. Hopefully we don't give it back tonight. That's all.
And Russ, I haven't got to talk to you since your Colorado Avalanche came back from a 3-0 deficit and thumped the Maple Leafs there on Saturday night pretty handily, 5-3 in regulation. How you feeling about where the Avalanche are at right now, and how are things going with you?
Good. Yeah, all is well. I mean, yeah, they've had a couple of good games, and then they blow that one to the Canadiens the other night. But yeah, like you said, like Moretto said, they played the Senators, who gave up 7 goals to them rather easily. So I don't know. I think they're playing well. They're right where you kind of expect them to be. Hopefully, they just stay healthy down this second half of the season. But other than that, all is well, man. It's been a pretty good month. Hopefully, we continue that. Thursdays have been good, so I'm excited to talk about all these games.
And for those of you wondering where So Money is this morning, don't worry. He is okay, but Jeremy is onto it here. He did get an emergency phone call this morning. Yes, they need to get ahead of things. The GM out there in Vancouver, they're talking about adding at the deadline. They're talking about how can they improve this team? What can they do to go on a run? So with that, you got to be prepared for post-Stanley Cup celebrations and parades and all that kind of stuff. So Money, he's been called into an emergency meeting here this morning, so he cannot be on the show, but he's okay. Don't worry. Good call there, Jeremy. Let's get into today's games. We've got 11 ahead of us here. We've got a lot of best bets, and we've got a lot of crossover, so that should be fun. So if we don't cover a game that you guys don't have, or if we don't cover a game that you guys are looking for here, make sure to send them in the chat. We'll try to answer those as well. We'll probably get to them at the end. We'll go through the games that we do have first and foremost, but we're not going to try to just skip over some of those. And I mean, let's first and foremost go to Montreal, Ottawa. where the Senators are hosting the Habs here tonight. Ottawa coming in -175. You see the Habs +158. A total right now at 6.5 on some books, 7 out there on some books like Pinnacle. Moretto, I'll go to you first and foremost. So you give us a little bit of a primer about what's going on with this Habs team, what to expect tonight, and what you think about this number.
Yeah, I mean, this is like more of a case of the Senators than anything else here with looking at the over, because this Sens team is just an absolute train wreck defensively. Goaltending has been a nightmare. They can't buy a save. Doesn't really matter who's in net for them. They went to their youngin the other night, and it didn't really seem to make a difference. So, Forsberg, Korpisalo, Mats, it doesn't really make a difference. They can't buy a save. Montreal's definitely generating a bit more offense. I still think they are a solid defensive team, but not Montembeault in net here makes a huge difference. I think Montembeault is far and ahead the best of their 3 goalies. So you're going to get a downgrade, whether it's Allen or Primo in net in this one. So, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine not betting Sens overs right now, pretty much regardless of who they're facing. And getting a Habs team that's kind of ticking up a little bit offensively, especially with that top line. Caulfield's starting to find a rhythm a bit again. Slavkovsky's just really fit in well. He's creating a lot of space for those guys, helping Suzuki and Caulfield as well get those points. I mean, against an Ottawa team, I can't imagine the offense will slow down anymore. And Ottawa's been generating a ton as well, getting a backup here, getting maybe a slightly fatigued Habs team coming off a back-to-back. All signs point to this over at these -130s, 6.5 are fine by me.
Russ, and I talked about some crossover today here. Are you in agreement here with Moretto in this game, the over 6.5?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, let's start the show with a double best bet here. We locked this in overnight at -120, and I was very happy to see it hasn't moved a ton. I thought for sure we would see a 7 here, and we still might, honestly. But Moretto nailed it. I mean, I don't know how much more I can add. He knows this Habs team better than anybody. But yeah, this is more about the Sens, man. They have been absolutely atrocious on defense. 32nd in save percentage over the last month, 32nd in expected goals allowed. And honestly, they can generate some offense as well. 6th in expected goals for. You saw that against a good Avs team the other night where they went up 4-2. After that, the Avs figured it out and just put it on them, ended up in like 7-4 win. But yeah, and then, the goaltending is terrible. And then on the other side, the Habs can put up some offense lately. They've been playing pretty well. But yes, like they say in the chat, this Kerry LeMay guy, auto over on the Senators. That's how I've been playing it recently, and it's done very well. 23-13-1 to the over this year, and more specifically, 13-6-1 to the over at home. It seems like this team just wants to go back and forth. So, yep, double best bet. We will we'll lock this in. I'm happy to get 6.5. I was looking at some numbers the other day. And so far, out of 600 games this year, 20% of games have landed on that 7-goal number. I would assume if you extrapolated that to totals that were in 6.5, it would be even more. So honestly, I would try and lock in that 6.5. If you do find something that's like +115, +120 on a 7, I think you could take a shot or even split half of your bet there. But I really like that 6.5 a lot more.
All right, so we'll grab the 6.5, -125, -130s that are out there right now. And what a way to start the show, boys. Double best bet in Montreal Ottawa game here tonight. So we'll lock that one in. Again, we do have a pretty big card here today. So we'll get to all of the picks that we get given out throughout the show at the very, very end there. Charles asking, alt overs? Oh, is this an alt overs game here in Montreal, Ottawa? I mean, with Russ saying we'd rather stay at the 6.5 based on where things have gone with the 7. And I mean, Russ did give a pretty good breakdown of where you'd probably need the number to be at if you're going to go to a 7, which should be able to be helpful if you're going to be looking for other numbers there as well. Before I get to the next game that will on the card here, Kerry LeMay did ask a question. How long have you guys been around? So just want to address that quickly. We have been around since the start of last season, the last NHL season, going from then, basically every day, Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, giving out picks. And you can see our entire record since back to then in the BetStamp app in the Find Better section. And yeah, I guess kind of still picking up steam here at this point. So if you are new to the channel, if you're new to the podcast, whatever it is, tell your friends. If they're watching other shows, if they're watching other breakdowns or whatever, or they're looking for bets, this is the place to come. Even if you're not someone who is looking to bet, but you want a better understanding of the game or how things might play out, or you just want to go back after and impress people in your office or your friends about predictions that you're going to make about the game, predicting underdogs, predicting totals, whatever, this is the place to come because we've been doing pretty well at it since we've started, since dating back to last season. So make sure to subscribe and share Edgework Show with your friends. But Russ, I gave Moretto the floor to open things up last time. He went on an over, shocking some people in the chat there. I know people weren't necessarily expecting that one, but goes an over to open the show. I'm going to give it to you this time to help us break down this Tampa Bay game here tonight. They are hosting the Wilds, minus 123. Minnesota coming in plus 120, plus 118s out there on some different books. We're seeing a total of 6 right now and some 6.5s in some other spots. What are your thoughts on this game? What are your thoughts on where this total is currently sitting at as well?
Yeah, interested watching this market. The Wild actually just took a big chunk of money and pushed this number way down. I was looking at some of the some of the skating information of the morning skate and kind of expecting to see Jonas Johansson, but it looks like Vasilevsky is expected to start, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there. I knew that this was a little bit of a contrarian play going in. Seeing some of the other guys I listened to have played the Wild, but I don't get it. I don't understand this play here. So I'm happy to lock in the Lightning at minus 123. Yeah, I'm not really sure. That seems like a little bit of a rogue number, but I'll absolutely take it. I mean, this is fairly straightforward. We started the season fading the Wild, and then we kind of got off of it when they got the new coach, and now we're back to fading this Wild team who cannot generate any offense at all. I mean, 30th in expected goals for. There's only 4 teams in the NHL who have scored fewer goals over the last month than this Wild team. They just don't generate anything. And I just think they're going to struggle against a Tampa Bay team who has been playing decent, not great, but they have been playing very well at home. 14-5 this year at home, and Minnesota is 7-11 on the road. And then this is another thing about I've faded Marc-Andre Fleury probably the last 2 years on the show. Yeah, see that number already moved. Okay, that was weird. But yeah, I'm fine with minus 131. I've got right around minus 145 for Tampa Bay here. So you can see some of those prices are getting out there. But I locked this in right around minus 130. It's kind of a weird, I don't agree with the line movement. I don't, Minnesota's 2-8 in their last 10 games. Tampa Bay has won 4 out of the last 5 and 8-2 in their last 10 at home. So this is a kind of a strange, strange market movement, and I'm happy to go on the contrarian side and take the Lightning. And where I envision this team is just a tier ahead of the Wild at this point in the season, especially if Marc-Andre Fleury is in net against Vasilevsky. So yeah, it's Lightning for me here at home, right around minus 130. I think is a little bit too short.
All right, so minus 131 there. We're going to lock in. Moretto, how is it that you're approaching this game tonight?
Yeah, I definitely agree on Tampa. I bet Tampa as well this morning, minus 134 at a worse number, and on Bookmaker. And that 123 on Penny was not a lie. That did flash. I saw it on screen, and I did bet it as well just then too. Obviously, I wasn't the only one because it is quickly back to 134 right now. So I agree with the Tampa side of things there. I'm also going to live up to my name here, and I'm taking it under in this one.
Oh, shocker.
I do really like the under here. Tampa team that is playing pretty sound defensive hockey. Obviously Minnesota not playing good hockey in general, but like the one strength of their game has been defense. Ideally we can get a Gustafsson start here, but I'm fine if we do get Fleury. It's just honestly the way Minnesota's generating offense right now, which is they aren't. It's pretty hard to back an over or like get behind a total being at 6.5 with a game that Minnesota's involved in right now. They just cannot generate anything. They cannot score goals. Getting Vasilevsky in net is obviously big here. So you would think that with mostly just one team contributing to this total, it shouldn't be where it is. But yeah, getting 6.5, there's -115. The -120s are fine as well if you don't have access to the 115. That's I am on the under in this one.
Well, shop around, get the best price available. Use the BetStamp app to help you do so. But there you go, double best bet on Tampa money line, and then we're also going to take the under 6.5 -115 there. So 2 bets in this game as well. We'll track those now. Continue on with the schedule here tonight. And again, reminder, if you do have questions, please send them in the chat here today. We'll try to answer them. We're probably going to go through about 5-6 games of the 11 that we have bets in, open things up at the end. If you guys know the flow of the show here on the Thursdays as well, see what else is out there, if there's anything else the guys are waiting for at this point. But if you've got questions or ones that you're interested in, send them, and we'll try to get to those at the end of the show here. Now, we'll continue on. Another game that we see some crossover from you two here. This is pretty easy. I mean, you guys are just team me up. I just go to a game and then let you take the floor because next up we got the Washington Capitals hosting the St. Louis Blues. Washington -109 here. The Blues +105. +104 is out there as well in some different books. Do make sure to shop around to get those, but otherwise you're starting to see that one kind of creep down into some of the minus money, -105, 102 range on some other books. And a total of 5.5. Russ, we'll go to you again here to lead off on this one. What are your thoughts on where this thing is at price-wise on the sides and where it's at on the total as well?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a different play for me. I don't think I've played on the Caps all season, but I like them here at -110-ish. I think that number is just a little bit low. Both these teams are fairly similar in their kind of the bottom 1/3 of the league, I would say, in pretty much all the metrics. But if you kind of break that down to last 15 games, last 10 games, the Caps have been playing a little bit better than the Blues. You look at the last 8 games, the Blues are 32nd last in the league in expected goals allowed. They're just not playing very good defense at all. I have no issue fading Bennington. I played against Bennington a lot last year and worked out great. And then, looking at the other side, the other net, hopefully we get a Lindgren start here for the Caps, who's been really, really good lately. He's played just awesome. He's actually 3rd in goals saved above expectation season long, so 3rd in the entire league, which is very surprising. And this Blues team is not very good away from home. They're 8-11 on the road, and the Caps are a good home team. They're 12-7 at home. When they do win, which is kind of sparingly, they do win usually at home. So this market has been moving all over the place again. I think, Blues have taken some money overnight. And this is, again, where, I have no issue going against market sentiment here and taking the Caps at a cheap price. Hopefully we get Lindgren. We saw Darcy Kemper last game. He's serviceable, but Lindgren has just been playing much better. And, now that he's fully healthy, I don't see why they would go back to Kemper here back-to-back games. So, this is just a disparity in price for me. I have the Caps right around -130-ish. I think, in my model, when you're getting that much value, it's a play on the Caps. So I'm happy to play them at -110 as a short home favorite.
All right, there you go. Caps -109. There are -110, 12s, 115s out there, so shop around as well. But -109 for us there. We'll track against Pinnacle. Moretto, should I just auto lock in the under here, or what's going on? What are your thoughts on this one?
I would do that, and I would do that quickly because the under keeps taking money now. So like all the 6s have been wiped out. I hit this at 6 -111 this morning, and I mean there's a 6 minus if you have the MGM there. -120 there. But I'm fine with plus money at 5.5 too. Like Penny, and you can see where Penny has gone to now. So I don't know how long those plus monies are going to be available at 5.5. So I would definitely take those rather quickly. But this is kind of similar to the Chicago San Jose handicap we gave the other night, where like these are 2 of the worst offensive teams in the NHL this season. They're both bottom 10 in chance generation and goals and everything. And things have just got progressively worse for both. If you look at the last 20 games or so, they're both kind of in the bottom 5 of the league. They're struggling to generate anything. Also like San Jose, Chicago, they're both not very good defensive teams, but we have what I think is a fairly solid goaltending matchup, at least baseline wise. Obviously Bennington is subject to some higher variance, but I don't necessarily know that the Caps are the team that are going to, truly light him up. Whereas I think we should get, like Russ said, I think we should get Lindgren in net tonight for the Caps. That would be ideal. If not, though, just kind of like the other night when I played the under 2, I'm still fine with Kemper. He's been playing better. Obviously, I would prefer Lindgren, but like Kemper has been playing better, and I do have some confidence in him right now, at least. So yeah, plus money 5.5s, or the 6s to like minus 120ish, 125 would be in play for me here.
All right, another best bet locked in here today. We are firing across the board. So, if nothing else, we are going to have some volume for tonight's games. Now we'll continue on here with the Philadelphia Flyers hosting the Dallas Stars tonight. Philly coming in plus 120 at home. The Stars minus 132. Total of 6 right now. You can find some 6.5s out there, but 6 seems to be the most widely available number across a bunch of the different books. Moretto, what are your thoughts on where this total is currently sitting at? And do you have any opinion on the side?
I would definitely. I'm going to leave the side for Russ. I definitely would lean to, I think, where he's at right now on this one. But for the total, yeah, I mean, you guessed it. I'm on the under in this one as well. This is one of the. I
tried to add some surprise.
I feel like a broken record right now, man. Honestly. But yeah, I do like the under in this game. I mean, just 2 of the top defensive teams in the NHL this season at 5-on-5, and 2 elite penalty kills, which also definitely helps. I think kind of flies under the radar a little bit here, where they're both 2 and 3 right now this season on the penalty kill. You have 2 top goaltenders, at least in theory, right? Whether it's Urson or Hart for the Flyers, they're getting very good goaltending on a consistent basis. And Ottinger hasn't quite been the guy that they would want him to be this season, but I'm obviously willing to buy into the longer term sample here. And he's been very good in 3 starts since returning from injury. So I don't know if it was a case of his performance earlier on was like maybe due to like something that was kind of bugging him and nagging him a little bit injury wise, but he missed a month and he's come back and been very good in 3 starts. So hopefully this is the Ottinger that we've come to expect. But yeah, just with this matchup, both these teams kind of profile as under teams to me, despite how Stars games have been going. They have been higher scoring. They're converting chances at a very high rate. I would expect that to tick down a little bit, while like obviously they have some elite offensive players, so you're going to expect them to shoot at a higher percentage, compared to league average. This is still, I think they're converting chances at a little bit too high of a rate still. And getting Ottinger back against a Flyers team that plays, good defensive hockey at home, where they can kind of control the matchups and maybe slow down that top line. This is a good under look for me here. I'd rather play the 6s as well than those heavily juiced 6.5s.
Okay, so that was first thing I was going to ask you is how you'd want to approach it on the 6.5 side, and what the prices are currently at.
Yeah, so just looking. So I would take the 6 minus 112 would be my preference there. And yeah, I mean, I'd rather take the 6 minus 120s as well. Would be next best for me for sure. The minus 140s at 6.5, not totally interested in.
All right, and then the other thing would just be thoughts on here. Jordan saying Ersson off first. Change anything? Confirm anything for you?
He's been fantastic. Yeah, no, he's been very good.
Russ Moretto teased it. He said he had an idea where you were going, leaning towards your way. What is the direction that you're looking in this Stars-Flyers game tonight?
Yeah, I'm happy to lock in the Stars here right around minus 130. This is a team that kind of been waiting to buy on for Ottinger to get back in net. And now that he's been back, he's been great. We played on him the other night against the Kings. Very, very easy 5-1 win for us. Honestly, this is a Flyers team that we bet on quite a bit this year. But over the last month or so, their play has been dipping quite a bit. 18th in expected goals for and 20th in expected goals allowed. They're kind of dipping to the bottom third of the league, and this Stars team is, I think, completely opposite. It's kind of a buy low-ish spot on the Stars before their prices get up a little bit higher, because this is one of the top teams in the league, in my opinion. And they've been playing awesome defense. Over the last month, the Stars are second in expected goals allowed, and then you combine that with getting Jake Ottinger back, who's one of the best goaltenders in the league. I think this number is a little bit short. If we fast forwarded a couple weeks and the Stars were in a in kind of a winning streak mode or in a winning mode, this is probably right around minus 150 or so. On the road, the Stars have had no issues winning on the road, 12-4 this year. Actually have a better winning percentage than at home, which is kind of uncommon for the Stars. But they have no issue going away from Dallas. But yeah, I think this number's again a little bit short. I've got right around minus 155 for the Stars with Ottinger and net. Kind of strange that Urson has, I didn't want to see Urson because he has been playing a little bit better than Hart, which is very strange to say over the last month or so. But yeah, if you're rooting for the under, you definitely want to see Urson here, I think, versus Ottinger. But yeah, this is just another one of those games like the last two or three that I think this number is a little bit short on Dallas. I'm going to trust my number here and take the better goaltender and a good road team that I think is one of the best teams in the league, or at least top five. So we'll go with the Stars here, right around minus 130. I think is a great play.
All right, another 2 bets locked in here in this Stars Flyers game. Now we got one more that we've got bets in. We'll get to some of those. Now I see here, actually, before we get off of this game, right wing fan, thoughts on Philly Dallas under 6.5 minus 130. Moretto, where do you kind of come in on that number?
Yeah, that's a better play than a 6 at minus 120. If you have access to the minus 120s or the 6.5 minus 130, then I would lay the minus 130 at 6.5 for sure.
Right. All right. Before we can continue to move on, get to the last one, get to some questions from the chat. If you guys have any here, I took a look here. There's less than a third of the people who are watching right now who have hit the like button on this stream. It takes 2 seconds to do. Just like the stream, subscribe to the content if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 2,000. Before we started the show, we were about 32 away, but to have a less than a third of the people watching hit that like button, come on, guys. Hit the like button, or just smash the like button, as somebody was saying last year. We can maybe help So Money plan the parade. Maybe you guys can be involved in it if we can get up to that live on-air parade planning with So Money if we can get to 2,000. So we do appreciate the support, but continue to hit that like button. One more game here to get to that we got best bet in. The Oilers hosting the Seattle Kraken here tonight. The Oilers coming in minus 210. You see Seattle plus 184, total of 6.5. Moretto, what are your thoughts on this game? And is this just an auto under again?
Yeah, I mean, just one more under for the night. I think that if you've been watching the show at all lately, you know that I've been on a lot of Oilers unders, and I think they're just continuing to be mispriced. That's 5 straight games now that have gone under 6.5 for them, and pretty comfortably. They've only allowed 7 goals in those 5 games. This is just an Oilers team that obviously they have a ton of firepower, but they're playing so well defensively, and they're getting great goaltending as well from Skinner. The Kraken profile similarly in that regard. Tough to generate a ton of offense against, and getting very great play in net from Decord. Scoring remains a problem for them. Beignets is hurt here too, or however, Beignets or whatever is injured. He's on IR, so that's going to hurt them offensively. Dunn and Burakovsky are kind of day to day here. I'm not sure whether we're going to see them tonight, but honestly, you'd think that you want Dunn here on the back end to help them defensively. And while he is good, they've had guys fill in fairly adequately on the back end, and you'd maybe be surprised to learn that, or maybe not because it's the Kraken, but Dunn is their leading point getter this season. So Dunn also is very much facilitates a lot of their offense. He's massive for them in transition. So, without him, I think that hurts them even more offensively. I don't see them generating a whole lot here against Edmonton. And, I think they're kind of the way they're built, with that depth up front, I think they're able to sort of slow down Edmonton a little bit here too. And this just shouldn't be as high as it is right now. I think these totals at 6.5 for Edmonton are going to start coming down pretty soon because the way they're playing right now, obviously there's a lot of respect for their offense and McDavid and Draisaitl and Hyman and, all those guys, Nugent Hopkins, but they just do not give up much. They give up very few chances. And when they're getting the goaltending that they are, they're winning games comfortably 4-1, 4-2, 3-1. Tough team to break down. So, yeah, I like the under here as well.
Lock that in. Moretto, can you say Beniers again?
Beignets. I don't know, man. It looks so French. I'm so used to watching these Habs broadcasts with the French commentary that I just adopt that accent a little bit here.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that messes up all these crazy ass names.
Yeah, I don't even want to try. I didn't want to. I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just gonna say they have a guy up front who's injured right now too.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I never even really care that much when names are said wrong. Like I was like, whatever. It's just like, I knew what you're talking about. Who cares? Move on. It's like, I do the same thing when Russ does it too. Like every now and then I'm just like, what, like, I know what you're saying. Everyone knows what you're saying, cares.
Yeah.
And then I saw like all these messages coming in. I'm like, it wasn't that bad, was it? But I had to hear it again. I had to hear you say it again.
I did think
All
I
right.
did think about this as I was saying it too. I thought about those donuts.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Under 6.5 locked in. Grab that at -105. Russ, what are your thoughts on this game, side total wise? And then I did see a question here as well. Carrie asking, suggesting Oilers and Reg facing a B team at the end of a road trip coming from the East Coast. Oilers and Reg, you can find that price -126 on Pinnacle right now. Not necessarily sure what those are in terms of widely available or on some other books, but on Pinnacle there, -126. What are your thoughts on this game, the side, and potentially Carrie's suggestion of Oilers and Reg?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind the Oilers in regulation. Look, this team has just been on fire, and I think this Kraken team is coming down to earth a little bit. They played some really, really easy competition lately, and then when they step up in class, the last couple of nights they've really struggled. And so I don't expect them to actually be in this game. But the better play, I agree, is the under. You can get that at -105. So I don't know why you would lay -126 when I completely agree on the under with everything Moretto said, man. Both of these teams have been playing just great defense, and one of them can generate offense, and one of them cannot score at all. We played Kraken unders all year this year, and anytime it's right around 6 or so, we've gone under. Joey Daccord has just been playing amazing. Actually, Skinner has been playing really well also. You look at the last 30 days, which is the last 15 games or so, Skinner is third in goals saved above expectation, and Joey Daccord is second. And both these teams are under teams. Both of them are 3-7 to the under the last 10 games, 5 in a row to the under for the Oilers, as Moretto said, and unders in 8 of the last 11 for the Kraken. So I was looking at this right before we went on and trying to make a case. And I completely agree. I'm going to lock in the under myself, especially at that -105 price, because it looks like it is moving and the under is taking some money. But yeah, this is a straightforward one. I think Moretto nailed it with what he's been early on all these Oilers unders, and I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would go away from it.
All right, there you go. The under 6.5 -105. Moretto and rubber stamped by Russ. So lock that in. We will recap everything. I do see a couple questions here I want to get to before we move on. First and foremost, Connor saying, if Moretto is the Undertaker, does that mean Zach is Paul Bearer? That's pretty good. Also, I saw a question or a suggestion, I guess. Andy Gunter saying the show needs to throw a prop bet here and there. We can try to add some more of those in, but if you watch the Thursday shows, you'd see Russ does throw out some prop bets here and there. Some of these shots on goal bets that we're not doing them frequently. We're hitting main markets more so than anything else, but they come every now and then. I can do a better job of that myself, trying to find some of those if people want those, but they're not going to be frequent, I'll tell you that much. But every now and then, sure. Sharky Love here asking, this is the game everyone wanted to hear about. Disappointing that it wasn't on your cards. Actually, for myself, it was a little bit more exciting, but you asked in the chat, so we'll get to it. Sharky Love asking, Flames Leafs over. Flames seem frisky. Looking at this Calgary game here tonight, they are +115 at home hosting Toronto. Toronto -120 here. A total of 6.5. You can find overs on that one. -112s, kind of creeping out towards -120. I'll leave it open to both of you guys. What are your thoughts on the total in this one, or the side, if anything?
I looked at this game quite a bit recently. You got one team on a 4-game winning streak and one team on a 4-game losing streak. But it's kind of smoke and mirrors for this Flames team, honestly. You look at the last 15 games, 24th in expected goals and 29th in expected goals allowed, which is basically the opposite of this Maple Leafs team. They're 6th in expected goals for and 8th in expected goals allowed. So this is a weird game, to try and handicap. Basically, the Flames are winning on the back of Jacob Markstrom, who's just been playing unbelievable in the last month or so. He's first in that goal saved above expectation. And then to address the comment, traditionally I would look for an over with this Leafs team. High flying offense. We played quite a bit of overs early on in the year, but since we got off of those, have not generated a ton. They've gone under in 8 of their last 12, so 8-4 to the under in their last 12. So honestly, I'm not exactly sure. This is a little bit of one of those games where there's a lot of variance, and so in those cases, I tend to stay away from those games traditionally. But yeah, interesting game here in the fact that the team that has the 4 wins in a row actually looks a lot worse in the metrics than the teams that has lost 4 games in a row. So I don't know. I think you get a pissed off Leafs team here, and I think it's going to be close. And honestly, this is a tough one. This is a tough one to handicap, and in those instances when I don't have an edge, I'm happy to just stay away.
No, that makes sense. I was just saying, no, I don't know in terms of pissed off Leafs team. I don't know if they've got that in them. But Moretto, what are your thoughts on this game? Side or total wise?
Yeah, I would lean towards the over, but it's just a little bit too juiced. I don't love where the price is at, and I mean the way Martin Jones has been playing, honestly, and like even the Leafs, like Russ said, the Leafs haven't been generating as much, and they've been playing well defensively, so they're not necessarily trending to be an over team lately. And I mean without Markstrom, like I'm a bit more inclined to maybe get involved, but again, you want to see if he plays or not, and even then, I think where the total is kind of getting up to here, it's just not something I'll end up betting at any point today, regardless. So, yeah, it will be over or nothing for me, but it's going to end up being nothing.
The other thing I saw is I saw Jeremy. Obviously, we had someone ask about Andy there asking about doing props, and then I saw Jeremy suggest one. Normally, with these, you can find lines and projected lines and people moving up and be able to pick some of those numbers off, whether it's goal scorers or points or whatever. Just at least in regards to this Leafs team, and that's what I can probably speak to the best for points wise, is there's not really anything I trust here at all in regards to what Sheldon Keefe will do with the lines. You could start the very first shift with a line, and the next shift that they play, it might be a different one here tonight. I have no idea. He said in the media he doesn't trust guys. He doesn't trust the team right now. He doesn't know who to put out, whatever, whether that's lip service or not. It's just kind of one of those ones of why am I going to go out there and try to find something to invest in for this one points wise when 30 seconds later things could change. If you're going to be betting on it based on a line or a power play situation, maybe this is one of those ones to just stay away from, at least tonight. I have no idea what we're going to get. So that's thoughts from me, at least from Leafs points, props, perspectives. That'll do it for bets here today. Before we can recap, though, I do got one question. People want to know. They've heard Rangers talk radio. They've heard Leafs talk radio on here. We've heard Canucks talk radio. Mike Bromberg wants to know, Moretto, what D-man would you trade for a forward or to make room for Lane Hudson?
Man, I could write an essay on this right now. How long do we have? Because we got to make room for a number of guys. I mean, you got to get Jack-Eye back in the lineup. I think you're gonna need to make room for Logan Mailloux, who's going to be coming up soon, leading all AHL rookie defensemen in goals right now. And he's, going to the All-Star game. He's going to be a very good player. You're going to want to bring him up. There's going to be a lot of room. They have a real logjam right now on the back end. I'm not trading Caden Gooley. That's for sure. He's probably the one guy I would say who's untouchable. Obviously, you want to keep Hudson and Mailloux right now. I don't think you're gonna be shipping off those guys. As far as guys on the roster, I mean, I think it goes without saying. I'd be looking to move David Savard around this deadline. He's a guy I think who could bring a little bit of value add to some playoff teams where it's just his penalty killing and just how he can log some tough minutes. But if you're looking at more a solution for younger guys to ship out. Jordan Harris would probably be the guy for me who I'd want to move. I like the way he plays, but I think his ceiling is kind of limited. Not necessarily the best in transition. Just a solid defender who I think will maybe peak as like a maybe number 4 guy, number 5 guy. But I think maybe you can trade him for a bit more than that, just with teams, seeing his age, seeing how much NHL action he's got at this age still. I think maybe you can sell him a little bit high, whereas I think his ceiling isn't quite where some of these other guys are. I would try and move Struble out too. I do like the way he plays, but I think you basically just have a better version of Jaden Struble in our Bergerac guy. And I think maybe Barron is someone you'd have to consider moving to. I think you're trading low if you move Justin Barron because he hasn't been playing very well defensively, but we're seeing more and more evidence that this is just kind of the guy he is, where he's a good offensive defenseman and he's maybe a little bit of a liability on the back end. Obviously he's young, so that can turn around, but I think you've got guys like him coming up in Hudson and Mailloux, and he's just kind of a surplus there. So he's another guy I would consider moving. But yeah, they definitely need to bring in some more offensive talent here, and I think they have a lot of guys they can move off on the back end. Matheson's another guy where I think you're looking at when you're going to start contending, and the way where just his age, he's not old, but I would definitely consider trading him for a bit of a haul, because he's a fantastic player. Like, yeah, you want to get a lot back for him if you move him, but I think that's something you would consider in the offseason, where if you can like bring in a bit of a haul for him for more of a contending team right now, like maybe like to like the Rangers or something, you get like a Cabo Caco and with Matheson in a package or something like that. That would have to be part of a bigger deal. But yeah, those are probably the 3 guys, Harris, Barron, and Struble, that I would look to move to make room for the other guys.
Yeah, Capo Caco, that's optimistic there, buddy. You guys are getting Trevor Zegras coming into Montreal. He's boys with Caulfield. Like this. Yeah, that's who you're going to get to root for.
I'll be wearing a
nice
hat.
Zegras jersey. All right. Well, that'll do it for today's show. To recap our best bets, stick with us here because there are a lot of them. Every one of these is a full unit, by the way, so don't worry. We're on the same page there. Full unit on every one. But let's start at the top. Also, the chat did not like your suggestion of having Kako there. Jeremy and Alber, our Rangers fans, not interested.
Well, apparently he's worth 6% to the win probability for the Rangers in every game, according to Alber. So I can understand why he wouldn't like that trade. He's looking for a package of Slafkovsky and Suzuki to move Kako.
All right. So our picks for tonight, we're going to start with Minnesota Tampa. We're taking the under 6.5 minus 115 there. Then we're going to go the Tampa Bay money line minus 134. In the Montreal Ottawa game, we're going over 6.5 minus 125. In St. Louis, Washington, we're taking the under 5.5 plus 106. We are also taking the Capitals money line minus 109. Then we're going to go to Dallas, Philly. We're taking the under 6 minus 112, as well as the Stars money line minus 134. And finally, we're going to go to the Kraken Oilers game. We're taking the under 6.5 minus 105. Those are all the picks for today. If you did enjoy the show here, please hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. We appreciate all the support. Appreciate everyone who shows up here every day. Appreciate everyone who's coming in as new watchers, listeners, viewers, whatever you are of this channel. We do appreciate that. We're very close to 2,000 here, just about 30 away now. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate these guys for coming here and giving you this content, giving you this insight, and giving you these best bets. Russ, Moretto, thank you guys for doing this here today. As always, we'll see Moretto back here next Tuesday. Russ, we'll see you back here next Thursday. Thank you guys for taking the time. Thanks everyone in the chat. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck on your bets.